Okay, well, good afternoon, guys. My name is Shawn. I was born and raised in Roosevelt, Long Island. I'm from Long Island, like most of my classmates. Um, to first generation Jamaican immigrant parents. I've always had a curiosity about technology, which began with my love of music. When I grew up, my dad always had a sound system in the basement. He had two Technique 1200 turntables, sound system with the speakers, all of that. So I used to always go and mess around with his equipment and eventually was better at using his stuff than him. Um, that made me branch off into DJing. I was a DJ from the age of 12 through 27. Currently, I do still produce music. I'm also a recording artist, and I graduated prior to starting Nebula from an audio engineering school in Manhattan, SAE Institute of Technology. And I actually found this program through a bit of misfortune in my life at the time. I lost my job of 3.5 years back in July. I was on unemployment. So during my work search, trying to get new employment, I actually saw this program through the Department of Labor's website. I looked into it, reached out to you guys, and Anam got back to me like literally, if not the same day, the following day. She explained everything to me, and thank God for one of my childhood friends that I reconnected with. Him and his sister both are in the tech field, and I told them I found a program, and they both encouraged me to go for it. So I took it on, and I can honestly say I don't regret it. Um, Similar to what Connor said, the program really introduced me to another side of technology and gave me an appreciation and respect for what goes into these applications that we use on a daily basis. Because you just open your phone or you turn on your game console, go on your iPad, and you're using all these things. And not once are you thinking about the back end and the front end of what it took to make this little stupid looking simple rinky dink thing work, but it's a lot more complicated than it seems. So I have a new appreciation for that. Um, I do plan on taking my skills that I gained here at Nebula to find a development job and create a better future for myself and my family. I'm probably going to focus heavy on front end in the beginning. I hope in the future that back end is not as intimidating to me. I want to be a full stack developer, but I'm not gonna lie, my brain checked out when we got to that part. It was a lot. What I can say really encouraged me though, because as Brandon and Devin know, and all my classmates know, I've been dealing with a lot during this cohort between losing my job. I got COVID for the second time in the beginning of the cohort. A lot of personal family stuff going on, a whole lot of car issues, and not knowing where the money was gonna come from. But I figured it out, and we actually had one of the graduates, Kelly, come and speak to us, and just hearing her story, being a single mom, on top of trying to balance everything, make money to take care of herself and her son, and still go to school, and her having those moments that I've had that I didn't really speak about. I've had moments where we had breaks in between class, and even outside of class, I literally would just tell my family, you know, I'm ready to give up on doing any of this because not really that it was difficult. It's just I had so much going on in my life where I felt like I wouldn't be able to really complete the program to the best of my ability. Had many a times, just crying out of frustration in between class and then getting right back to it. But, just listening to Kelly and hearing her share similar things that really encouraged me to keep going. And I'm honestly glad that I did. And I just want to say thank you to Devin and Brandon and all of my classmates, especially Connor. That's my partner in crime, man. Like me and him, especially in the beginning, sometimes we'll be up like a good 2, 3 hours after class, still trying to figure stuff out. Like he doesn't have work in the next morning. So, but I'm glad I stuck through it. I'm glad I had you guys, honestly. And I just want to go into now my contribution to the capstone. So my role for the capstone, I developed a curriculum for the iOS module of the Mouse Mastery app. That section that Connor had showed. Um, that Sarah had that awesome emulator for. And thank you, Sarah. That was so cool. I'm just excited because this is our first time seeing it like really up and running too, guys. I also developed a quiz component for each module of the Mouse Mastery app. I just used like a sample quiz, so it was easier for Sarah to put the data in that aligned with the quizzes for each section. I also made the correct answer modal component to signify when they got the answer correct. And I got tasked with something that I really enjoyed, making the sound component, and everybody picked me because they know I'm big with the audio and the music stuff. So I was excited to do that. Yeah. Right. So this is for my correct answer modal. So a modal is basically a pop-up. That's what that is. So correct answer modal component was used to display a dialog when the user got a correct answer. So if they get the right answer in the quiz, it'll pop up and show them that they got it correct, and it would provide that visual feedback congratulating them once it's confirmed. I also put a button in there. I used the on click for them to be able to click next to proceed to the following question, and that translated into all of the quizzes for the app. That was a fairly simple component for me to make. Honestly, I did enjoy making that one though, as short as it was. All right, next one that I did was the quiz component. So this served as a container for displaying the quiz material and managing the content related to it. That brought about the interactive interface for the users so they can participate in the quiz after they gain their knowledge from the modules. It presented the questions and options for them to choose from as far as the answers. And I used a use state hook, which is a powerful component in React that gets used to manage the state of the quiz. So it tracks the current questions, the user responses, and determines when to show or hide that correct answer modal that I showed in the last slide. So that one was a little bit complicated, not too much though. I had help from Connor as well with that, so thank you, Connor. Definitely appreciate you. And my last and my favorite component is my sound player component. So this was an important one to me because I feel like it really put the pizzazz in the app. Because everything was functional. We had everything in there and it was working. But most learning applications that I've dealt with in the past, I found can be very mundane. There's not really anything to keep you engaged. So I feel like the sound player component um, was a good addition and was specifically designed to play sounds within the quiz component. So it would pass the files as a prop to enable the playback of different sounds during various quiz events. So if you were clicking an answer, if the answer was correct, if the answer was incorrect, when you click the next button, when you open or closing the modal. And I really feel like that provided a enhancement to the user experience to have those audio cues for the button clicks and the other interactive elements of our app. So that was my favorite part, especially having to dig and find sounds. I don't know what it is about me, but I'll get lost in hours and hours, because kind of reminded me of when I'm making beats. I'll sit there and dig through vinyl or dig online and just dig up a bunch of sounds and siphon through them for hours to figure out what I want to work with. And that's essentially what I had to do to find these sound effects for that component of the app. Yeah, so those were my contributions to our Mouse Mastery app that we did for our capstone. And if there is any questions, the floor is open.
Yeah, I got one for you, Shawn. So, as we're all aware, you're first in audio engineering, and I'm sure you're familiar with digital audio workstation tools like Fruity Loops and Ableton Live. Do you see yourself possibly bridging over to that side of software in the future? Like, would you want to work on DAW apps?
So that honestly is one of my main goals. That's a big thing for me because doing my own research and production, audio recording, teaching myself, and then eventually, going over and translating that into an actual school setting, even in the school that have the top of the line equipment and latest versions of these softwares, I realized that there's a lot of bugs. There's a lot of issues with latency. There's a lot of issues with plugins that don't function properly in certain DAWs. And then I had mentioned to you before, Pro Tools is a memory hog when it comes to the computer. Like you literally cannot have anything else open when you're using Pro Tools. And I feel like there's places where that can be improved. Also, an engineer that I was interning with, he actually had this idea that we're trying to bring to life because all the plugins emulate actual like vintage compressors and reverb machines and things of that nature. But it doesn't have that feel. You know, you can't really touch the knobs or turn anything. So we're trying to figure out a way to have an interface that would bring that feeling back into life, where you can actually, even if it's touchscreen, touch and do what you're doing, because with a mouse, it's only but so much precision you can get with the levels of what you need out of your audio. So yeah, that's definitely something that's on my mind for sure, Brandon.
Yeah, thank you for that, and congrats. See if you have
Thank
any
you.
more questions.
So I wanted to just to chime in. So congratulations, Shawn. Really excited for you. And I love the blending of the career paths and kind of looking at what you know and what you've learned and how you can enhance that field through this new skill set. So that's really exciting. And you know, the back end stuff, you'll get there. So it's all about practice and using it and finding opportunities to fail in a safe way, right? Hopefully you'll get that opportunity in the future to do that. So we'll look forward to seeing where you take your career. Let's just check and see if there's anything in the chat. Looks like there's a couple questions in there. One is, let's see, from Shanice. She's saying, so proud of and happy for you, Shawn. What part of this journey are you most proud of?
So for context, guys, that is my twin sister. Thank you, Shanice. I appreciate it. Honestly, everything, but I had the most fun with our calculator project and putting that neuromorphism in there. I really had fun with that because Brandon had brought it up, but then he kind of like tried to take it back, like that might be a little too complicated. But if you guys want to go for it, go for it. And I'm like, okay, complicated, I'm gonna do it. Just because you said it's complicated, I'm gonna do it. So I was really proud of my calculator project and the not Netflix. That was amazing. Like that was crazy. I never knew that everything we were doing separately was going to come together and produce that, and all of us did a great job in that. I was just so happy to be a part of that, honestly. So that was like those two were like my top two proudest things that I created. You know, besides my contributions to the capstone, of course, but that was like what really got me going. I was like, yeah, like I'm into this. You know.
Yeah, and that's, you know, the curriculum's designed for that scaffolding to help you kind of see the outcomes of what your work is, you know, what you're doing and what you're learning. So we're trying to trigger that emotion for you to kind of get you excited about what you're going to continue to learn and seeing it all come together. So great to hear that was beneficial to you. Let's check and see if we have any more questions in the chat. Doesn't look like anything now. And I'm going to hand it over to your teammates to see if there's any comments from the team.
Great job, man. Told you you'd make it through it.
Thank
Nice
you,
job,
bro. I
Shawn.
appreciate it.
Shawn, what would you say was the turning point for you?
Good turning point or bad turning point? That's the trick question.
Yours.
The turning point for me, honestly, I would say the fact that, you know, when I got COVID, you know, I was super duper sick, and Brandon and Devin were commending me a lot during that time because I did miss a few things here and there, but I literally came back to class when I was better and jumped right back into it like nothing happened. So that was like one of, I would say, my reaffirming moments, you know, even though I still have moments outside of that where I kind of felt like I was on a little slippery slope, but that was something I always remember to remind myself that, you know, I can get this done, you know, because anybody that knows me, especially my family, you know, when I get sick, like even if it's a cold, I get sick. It's bad. Like I'm completely and totally not functional. So I was proud that I was able to just jump back into things like that. That really gave me a confidence boost.
Oh, there's a comment in the chat that I wanted to share with you. Not sure if it's from your mom or your dad, but it says, "Congratulations, son. I listened to you express throwing the towel in, and I told you we don't quit."
Definitely my mommy. Thank you, Mom.